The UM Class 1 World Powerboat Championship, also known as Class 1, is an international motorboat racing competition for powerboats organized by the Union International Motor Motonautique. It is the premier class of offshore powerboat racing in the world. Class 1 is considered one of the most spectacular marine motorsports. A Class 1 race boat has twin inboard 1100 p engines and can reach speeds in excess of 257 kilometers per hour, 160 miles per hour. 100. All boats are limited by a minimum weight of 4,950 kilograms. The sport of powerboat racing has undergone unprecedented changes since the earliest recorded race in 1887 in Nice, France, organized by the Paris Sailing Club. The French also claimed the next two recorded races in 1903, a 62-mile race in Milan on the River Seine organized by the Poissy Sailing Club, and the 230-mile race from Paris to Trouville. But the first officially recognized international offshore powerboat race was a 22-mile event from Calais, France to Dover, England. The modern era of offshore powerboat racing was kick-started on 6 May 1956 with the first running of the famous Miami-Nassau race, which would ultimately lead to the introduction of the Sam Griffith Memorial Trophy and a UM-sanctioned World Championship in 1964. From 1964 to 1976, the winner of the World Championship was decided by points gained from multiple races held at venues around the world. From 1977 to 1991, the winner was decided by a series of races at a single event at the end of the year. The World Championship reverted to a multi-event format in 1992. As of 2019, ABA-sanctioned Class 1 racing is being held by Powerboat Phone under the name Class 1 USA, with catamarans racing strictly regulate its stern-drive Mercury Racing 9.0-liter 1100H twin-turbocharged Vate motors and unlimited power for monohull. The victory team from the UHA is the current defending championship team, weighing in at around 5 tons. Each catamaran in the Class 1 fleet is approximately 14 meters in length, 3.5 meters wide, and constructed using composite materials. Over the years, safety has become a key concern. In today's Class 1 boats are the safest they have ever been. Inside the cockpit, satellite GPS systems, trim indicators, engine data, dashboards, and instrument panels and warning lights keep the crew aware of the boat's progress during a race. The cockpit is reinforced to withstand enormous impacts that may occur if a boat crashes at speeds in excess of 150 miles per hour, with an escape hatch in the hull as an added safety feature in the event of an accident. While a Class 1 race boat is highly technical and state-of-the-art, and its overall performance is dependent on design, aero and hydrodynamics, choice of propeller and gear ratio selection, the relationship between driver and throttle man, who navigate and control the power, must provide direct input to adjust trim and drive settings during a race or official qualifying, is ultimately the defining factor and crucial to performance. Each boat has a two-man crew, the driver who navigates and steers the boat, and a throttle man who dictates the speed by controlling the throttles and the trim. It is a combination that requires total trust. Imagine driving a car and the person beside you has control of the accelerator and a close working relationship. Spectators may imagine that the crew simply jump into the cockpit and it's the guys who drive quickest that can win. A simple enough theory, but one that doesn't take into account the skills and professionalism of pilots who regularly hurtle across the waves at over 160 miles per hour or 250 kilometers per hour. Both pilots work closely with their pit crews to determine the race setup, the type of propeller required for the conditions, gear ratio settings, the amount of fuel needed, and race tactics. Propeller choice is critical and can win or lose not only a race, but also a championship. A Class 1 season consists of a series Grands Prix, made up of 3 official practice sessions, 1 official qualifying session, which is also known as pole position, and 2 races. The results of each race are combined to determine the winner of the World Championship. The European Championship and the Middle East Championship are defined by specific events in those geographic regions. The results in official qualifying determine the winner of the pole position championship. 8 races at 4 venues make up the Class 1 World Powerboat Championship, with races run over multiple laps of approximately 5 nm, including 1 or 2 mandatory long laps. The World Championship is awarded to the team with the most accumulated points throughout the season. A winning crew collects 20 points, the runners up 15, with the third-place team awarded 12 points. A Grand Prix weekend is run over 3 days with registration, technical scrutineering, and the first practice session and driver briefings taking place on day 1. On day 2, a practice session is run in the morning, followed immediately by the pole position qualifying, also counting as a separate championship, and race 1 in the afternoon. The pole position, like the practice sessions, is run over the Grand Prix course, giving the crews a further opportunity to familiarize themselves with circuits and conditions and to decide on setup. It acts as the qualifier for the lineup for race 1, with the pole sitter fastest time lining up closest to the official start boat. The pole position lasts for 45 minutes, with teams having to complete a minimum of 1 timed lap and allowed to return to the wet pits to make adjustments to set up, but limited to a total of 10 minutes under the crane. On day 3, a final practice session in the morning is followed in the afternoon by race 2. Each race is started by a Nortec 3600 Supercat official pace boat running at a controlled speed, which lead the boats from the wet pits and into a line abreast under a yellow flag or amber flag, a green flag denoting the race start, with the finishing order of the pole position dictating the lineup of the boats for race 1 and the finishing order of race 1. Each race consists of approximately 11-15 laps, including 1 or 2 mandatory long laps. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to please like and subscribe. If you have a topic you would like to suggest, leave a comment.